Okay, Facebook Live people. Hopefully this is working. I'm Marc Headley. With me today is Aaron Smith-Levin. We're both contributors to the Aftermath show on Scientology on A&E, and we're going to do a Facebook Live Q&A/chat. So Aaron and I were just going to talk for a little bit, and then if people have questions, they can post them in the comments. Hopefully this is showing up somewhere. It looks like there's people that are commenting already. So I can see the comments and I can see people chiming in. So hopefully it's showing up.
I can see all the. I was gonna say, Mark, just so I understand, are you seeing the comments because you're looking at Facebook, or you're looking at the BeLive app thing?
In the BeLive app, I can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I can see 5 comments that just are sitting up there, and I can actually even show the comments on the screen. So there's one right there. Hi. So Luann, I'm not going to try to pronounce that, but Luann says, hi, Mark and Aaron from Nebraska. So if we want to put up questions during it, we can just do it just like that.
Luann Olschwager. It's Olschwager.
Okay, if you say so. Then we got Beth. Beth says, love the reminder. See, I was saying that reminder is a pretty cool little thing. Can you show
It is 2 p.m.
Aaron
It is 2 p.m. Mountain Time right now. Someone just said I thought you were starting at 2 p.m. Unless the time zones are all jacked up. It is 2 p.m. Mountain Time.
Exactly 2 p.m. Mountain Time. We started on time with no technical difficulties. So let's not start. I mean, I don't know much about time, but my computer says it's 2 p.m. So
Mark, I'm looking at the graphics on Facebook. This looks awesome.
It does? Oh, can you see it on the page?
I do it. I see it right there.
Awesome. Okay. Well, I don't see that, but that's okay. I'm not worried about that too much. Oh, yeah, there we go. I see it now. That is awesome. Okay, cool. Perfect. Well, that's it's good news. So it's working out. So, yeah. Well, let's just see what we got. We'll wait for a few more people to get in here, and then we'll start this thing up. I'll scroll through this, too. It says, love the reminder. What else we got? Lots of people saying they're here. You thought you were starting at 2 p.m. Yeah, Vanessa. Mountain Time, Colorado. I'm in Mountain Time. There's Vanessa. I'm going to show you. I'm going to shame you. I'm going to comment shame you. If you put a stupid comment up, I might comment shame you. I didn't even know that was a thing until just a second.
Hi, Susie from Philly.
Susie from Philly. Oh, yeah, there's a lot of people in there. There you go. Susie from Philly. I didn't want to miss any of the good stuff. There's Vanessa again. Whoa, we got people from Canada in here. Look at that.
Who knew Canada had internet?
Right, I guess they do. We just got internet like a few weeks ago here in Colorado. So if you were to watch Claire's broadcast, that's what somebody said. Give them a break. They just got internet.
So, Mark, just like I mentioned before, I'm actually looking on my Windows desktop on the Facebook browser here, and I can only see, it does not let me scroll up to see previous questions. So I'm going to keep an eye on that. But looking on your iPad, can you scroll? Or do you have that ability?
I can scroll. I can see all the comments all the way from the very first ones, and I can also show them on the screen as well.
All right, cool.
We're good. We're golden.
Wait.
Well, let's see. We got. Can you see how many people are in? I don't see that.
Yeah, 51.
Okay. Oh yeah, no, I do have that. Okay, 51. Okay, so let's just wait. Let's wait until there's like 100 people in here, and then we'll fire it up.
All right, cool. So let's shoot the shit. Let's shoot the shit until then, huh?
Okay. What are we gonna talk about? I don't know. I'm busy. Oh, I am gonna do. I've got. I think I'm up to chapter 7 of the audiobook for the Blown for Good book. So I'm trying to get that released before like the second week in February. We'll see if I can do that. I will. It's a lot of work. I got about 20 something chapters to go. I think I've gotten through all the thick ones, the beefy ones, but we'll see. So that's I got that going on, and I've just been crazy busy with work. What about you?
Well, the most exciting thing happening in Florida right now is the weather.
The weather?
Dude, it was 34 degrees here last night.
Whoa, that's colder than here.
Yeah, people were asking. When I was when I was talking to Elizabeth Gale on our live stream yesterday, I was wearing like my big puffy jacket
Oh,
that I get to
yeah.
wear like once a year. It's because it's 65 degrees in the house. I'm afraid to turn it up any warmer because you don't know what the electric bill is going to be like.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Oof. 30 degrees. That's Colorado weather. 30 degrees.
Yeah. Yeah, but we don't get the snow.
I don't think it's 30 degrees right now.
You know, the kids are still out of school on.
We're at 57. We're almost to 60.
Kids are still out of school on their holiday break. They go back on Tuesday. So just been doing a lot of hanging out, relaxing.
Awesome.
Keeping them out of the house, field trips and whatnot.
Well, we got somebody from Germany in here.
Hello, Sonia. Hey, Mark, did you see what I posted earlier today about we got the permit approved for our big giant Clearwater party on March 10th, Scientology the Aftermath party?
Oh, wow.
We're closing down Cleveland Street right outside the Coachman.
No. You're going to have a block party?
Block party, Scientology and the Aftermath block party, downtown Clearwater.
That's awesome.
This is the one I was telling you guys we wanted you to come out for, but if you probably can't.
How much does it cost to close down a street?
Not as much as you think.
You know what I was going to tell you? When I worked at Golden Era Productions for Church of Scientology International for 15 years, from 1990 to 2005, we shot all over Los Angeles and all over California for that matter. And if you are a nonprofit organization, which Scientology is classified as, you can shut down any street anywhere in Los Angeles County for free.
Wow.
Doesn't cost you a penny. If you wanna do like walk and talk on the sidewalk, you're good to go. You shut it down, you can get posted, get rid of all the cars, all that for free. If you want to go in the street, you have to pay like a few bucks to get a barricade set up. But the cost to close the street is free. It's just to get the cones and traffic items like Department of Transportation requirements in place. That costs money.
Yeah.
And that's also where we would pay the police officers. Because when you do a shoot like that, you get an off-duty cop in uniform with his vehicle. You can get him for the whole day. I think it's $75 an hour. And if you're shooting all the time, you're paying those guys. Every time they have events, they pay those guys. So you're talking about between events and shooting and whatever security, you can hire them as security too for your Scientology opening event because you're filming it. You have a film permit. You can hire 20 police for that. Between all those things, there's anywhere from 20 to 50 LAPD officers that are making their vacation money, their boat money, all their play money is coming from that. Their salary pays the bills. Their off-duty work, that's spending money. That's disposable.
75 an hour?
Yep. Well, I'm pretty sure that some of that, a piece of that goes to the police department, but the officer takes home the lion's share of that amount. I mean, I don't know for sure, but I would guess that they get at least 50 of that 75.
Wow. Yeah. So for the permit, there's still other things that have to be figured out. As far as like there is supposed to be an off-duty police presence. There is supposed to be, like you said, closing down the street, getting a permit to close down the street isn't the expensive part. It's other things that factor into it that end up costing money. Yeah. But with the way things are organized, it may not end up costing much money at all. So the fact that we're not a religious organization makes it easier for us to actually put on these events than even the church actually.
Yeah, I would believe it. I mean, also, it's a party. Everybody loves a party. Come on.
Right.
We're having a party.
Yeah.
What's wrong with that? Close the street down. Drive around. There's people partying here.
And I think I've probably already told you this privately, but one of the reasons we're doing this in downtown Clearwater isn't to piss off the Church of Scientology. we're trying to help the city in its efforts to entice the non-Scientologists to come back down to downtown Clearwater. Now, the city can't come out, politically and say, will the non-Scientologists please come back to downtown Clearwater? But we can. And the thing about these events is that everyone knows that whoever comes to a Scientology and the Aftermath get-together is a non-Scientologist, and that any of the restaurants that sponsor it by providing food are restaurants not owned by Scientologists. Like, it's just a given. And the reason I'm mentioning that is because one of the things I learned recently is that a lot of these other events that are held in downtown Clearwater, one of the reasons people hesitate to come is they don't know if it's church sponsored, because the church hides behind these community organizations. They're worried that these events are church sponsored, and that's why more people don't come. And I found out, this should have occurred to me, but it hadn't, that a lot of people they actually don't want to spend money at a business they think is owned by a Scientologist because they think that money's going straight to Scientology. I'm not totally on board with that particular viewpoint, but I do understand it. The church has created this bad will in the community. And so we want to bring these thousands of people to downtown Clearwater and show them, look at all the restaurants and bars that are not owned by Scientologists. Look how beautiful it is down here. Look, that's awesome. There's no Seer members on the streets here. The place is free for the taking. Just come on back, because downtown Clearwater is actually pretty gorgeous. You haven't been here in a long time, have you?
No, I was there 2 years ago.
Remind me, what were you guys?
2 years ago.
Oh yeah, of course. But did you guys go to downtown?
Yeah, I went to the Starbucks.
You did? Okay, I didn't go with you.
Starbucks. I will put on record, that Starbucks is the slowest, emptiest Starbucks I've ever been to in my entire life. When I walked in, there was 3 staff in there, 3 employees, and they were all drinking Starbucks at the counter. None of them were behind the counter. I've never seen that at any Starbucks in my entire. We have in Castle Rock, it's tiny town. We have 60,000 people here. We have 7 Starbucks, and every single one of them is overrun there's some sort of drug, or if you drink 10 of them before the day's out, you're going to live longer. There's people there all day, every day. It's crazy. That Starbucks in Clearwater. It's right on, I think it's what was that building? It's catty corner to the CB.
Yeah, the Clearwater building. The Clearwater Bank building.
Yeah, it's kind of catty corner to that, right?
Yeah.
Just diagonal. Yeah. That's that Starbucks. And Scientology got that Starbucks, supposedly. Tom DeVocht did a whole bunch of work to get that Starbucks there, and it's pretty much empty.
He told that story, and here's the funny thing about it. He brought the Starbucks reps to Clearwater because they wanted the Starbucks to open right on that corner. And he said, watch this. And he took the Starbucks reps, had them stand on the corner during meal times. When you have 2,000 people over an hour and a half, 2 hour period, you've got 2,000 people walking down the goddamn street 3 times a day. And they were like, wow, you've got to be kidding me. So they opened it up. And then what does Scientology do? They open up the flag building. There's 3, 4, 5 cafes in the building.
And then they put
restaurants.
Yeah, they put a coffee bar in their own building.
And they basically put Starbucks out of business. And I guarantee you Starbucks will probably cancel that lease sooner or later because they don't make any money.
Yeah. No, it makes sense.
Yeah. And you don't have to tip at the Scientology restaurants because they're staffed by Sea Org members, and Sea Org members don't make tips.
That's true. I never thought about that. There's no tipping in Scientology.
There's no tipping at Sea Org restaurants. So
I never thought about that. I've never thought about that.
Yeah. That's one of the ways that Scientology is putting local businesses out of business. It's cheaper to eat in their buildings.
Well, it's cheap to sleep in them. They have the most expensive hotel rooms. No TVs. They used to have this. I don't know if they still have this. I think this is a little hinky, but you used to not be able to lock the rooms at the FH.
Oh, really? I didn't know that. I'd never heard of that. That's crazy.
Yeah, there was no TVs and you couldn't lock the room. And it was like, I want to be able to lock this door.
I bet you can't open those windows.
No. Because that's not a good thing. It's a high building. It's a high building.
Not a good thing.
They already get enough calls as it is. Okay, I think we're up to 90. We're up to 96 people. That's close enough, right? I think
Totally.
we could do. Okay. We got. I've been putting up the comments of people where they're from this entire time while we're talking.
Yep.
People.
So, did you want to do your intro?
I mean, it's Aaron Smith-Levin. It's Marc Headley. We're gonna chat a little bit. We're gonna answer questions. We're not real. There's no fixed thing here. We're gonna go as long as we can go until I'm reading the comments. Sorry, I'm reading the comments while I'm talking, and there was some funny ones in there. Yeah, we're good to go. We're just trying out some new stuff here with the technology, see if we can streamline these interviews a little bit better and make it so anybody can do them from anywhere. And there's actually the software that I'm using, Aaron, it also has a talk show format. So you can get multiple people. And the people that are watching can join in on the talk show. And I think you can have up to 10 people in the lobby that you can just call up and say, hey, Michelle from Centerburg, Ohio, what's the deal? And then not only can you can put her thing up, but then if she gets the app, she can join in on the tool. We could try that another time.
Yeah, that's great, man. This is awesome.
Awesome. Okay. Well,
so let me start with some of the questions that I copied and pasted from that I saw places.
Perfect.
I'm not speaking English good. All right. Marc Headley, in an interview with Jeffrey Augustine, Claire explained how you got your personal belongings back from International Management after you guys left. She mentioned a dog. So my question is, how can a SEER member, especially one at the Int Base, have a dog, walking the dog, feeding, vet bills, etc.? How does that work, and how did you get the dog back? Did you guys have a dog?
We did. We had, here, I'll put that, see, look at this. Look how fancy I am here. Hold on. Can you have a dog? Anyway, yes. So at the Int Base, there was probably about 10 people on the entire property that had dogs, not including David Miscavige. He had several dogs. But because Claire was in RTC, which is Religious Technology Center, which was the highest ranked or the highest organization on the Int Base property, she got a little bit more better treatment, and they had they had more privileges than the rest of the organizations at the international headquarters. So because of that, I think mainly because of her, we were allowed to keep our dog there. We had a Dalmatian. Her parents raised Dalmatians, and then we got a puppy, I think, from there, and then we had that at the base. Now, there was another reason why I think we were allowed to have the dog, is because Dave Miscavige had a Dalmatian. He had 2 Dalmatians, and the female Dalmatian that he had liked our Dalmatian and didn't like the Dalmatian male that he. And I think for that reason we were allowed to have them. And they had kennels there, and so the dogs were basically in kennels all day. And then at the end of the night, we would take them home. And at that time, we lived in apartments in town, right off of Aaron. Is Aaron in here? Aaron, there's a woman who lives in Hemet who's been to the property a few times. Aaron Hodges. Aaron Hodges Plum. Yes. This woman she's got the balls. She's been to the base multiple times on purpose. But she lives in Hemet, and there's a place in Hemet where the apartments used to be. It was off of Menlo and Kirby, and it was called the Kirby. I think it was called the Kirby Gardens. It's right next to a liquor store in Hemet, and so we used to bring our dog home to that apartment building, and yeah, there she is. And that's how we would get the dog back and forth. When we lived eventually we moved right next to the property, and our dog, and they tore down the kennels because as the years went by, they said, that's enough. No people can have dogs. And they tore down the kennels, and almost, I'd say 95% of the people who had pets, they got rid of the animals, or as they died, they didn't let that person get another animal. we had our Dalmatian. We had two. The second one we had until we left, and we had for several years after we left. And when I went back and got our stuff in a U-Haul, the security guards brought him with them for me to take back to Kansas City, where we moved to. So yeah, so that's the story with the dog.
Very cool. All right, here's one from Mr. Dan Kuhn. Do you know of any sexual perversions that David Miscavige has? If anybody would have heard about them, it would have been Mark. What does that mean?
I don't know. Dan Kuhn asked that question?
Why would you be the one to know about Dan's sexual perversions, Mark? Is there something
I don't know, but I'm not touching that with a 3.5-inch pole. I'm not going anywhere near that. That's not a question I'm gonna entertain. Sorry, Dan. I have no idea what you're talking about. I did see Shelly, full disclosure, I did see Shelly in her nightgown one time at the Hacienda Gardens in Clearwater when I was working on some audio-visual system apartment there. So that's the only knowledge I have, the only even barely pertinent relevant data that I have.
You know, one thing I'll say is that Mike has mentioned that Miscavige has, for all intents and purposes, become kind of asexual. Like, he's never seen Dave and Shelly show any public affection or ever kiss anything.
That's true. In the 15 years, that's true. In the 15 years that I was at that property, from 1990 to 2005, I don't think I ever once saw them kiss. I don't think I ever once saw them hug even, or hold hands in 15 years. And I was at meetings where both of them were there, hundreds and hundreds of meetings. So it wasn't like I saw them 8 times in 15 years. I probably saw them thousands of times.
Right, and let's contrast that to so when I was at Flag and Debbie Cook and her husband Wayne Baumgarten, you know, Debbie was the commanding officer and Wayne was her husband. They'd be walking around holding hands during meal times all the time. They'd do the little, oh, bye, sweetie, give a little kiss. And, you know, showing affection, spouses showing affection in the Sea Org, is not rare. It's not frowned upon. It's not unusual. No. So
there was a couple, now that you say that, there was a couple at OSA. I don't remember their names. I think it was the guy had an Italian name. But it was this kind of, you know, regular size Italian guy, but his wife was this really tall blonde. And the entire time I was in LA, posted in Able, I was there for a few months at the Hollywood Guarantee building. But these two on the bus, off the bus, walking to the bus, walking from the bus, they were like all over each other. Like they were never not holding hands or arm around each other or just, and it was just like, wow, these two, like it was like PDA full time with them, like nonstop. And it was always to me like, okay, guys, take it easy here, man. We get it. We get it. She's hot. He's hot. Okay, fine. Thank you. Yeah, at the base, it wasn't that. I mean, it was okay. Like you could walk and hold your wife's hand. But it was like, take it easy because if Dave sees you, you're going to get called out on it. Like he's going to bring it up as like, you know, hey, we've got a job to do here. We get that you guys are boinking, you know, like, come on, take it easy.
I think Miscavige, correct me if I'm wrong here. Whatever is going on with his personality on this subject of affection or relationships or sexuality has infiltrated and filtered down to all levels of the Sea Org, and it comes from him personally. That kind of shit isn't necessarily driven by what Hubbard wrote on this subject. Like, yeah, like, I mean, I know that, you know, 98% of all the bad things in Scientology come from what Hubbard wrote. But this is a uniquely Miscavige era thing, if I'm not mistaken.
Totally.
Yeah.
When we, at At the Int Base, I mean, I would say during the 15 years that I was there, at least 50 people. I could make a list, but I'm pretty sure it would at least be 50 people that went to the RPF, the Rehabilitation Project Force, which is kind of like their labor camp, Scientology's reprogramming / labor camp. At least 50 people that went to the RPF for sexual reasons, for doing something that had to do in some way with sex, whether it was having sex with somebody that you weren't married to, having sex with somebody that married to, whatever. There was a couple, Adam and, what was the girl's name? Parcell. Linnea was the sister. I can't remember the wife's name. Anyway, this guy, Adam Parcell, was going to get married to this girl named Corey Parcell. Her maiden name was Corey Norton. And they had sex before they got married. And David Miscavige knew it, because they're all these young kids. They always do. They can't wait another 2 months to get married. They got to do it right now. And so it's almost like a 99% chance that if he just says, I think you guys did this, he's going to be right, because they just can't not. And so he calls Corey into his office in RTC. Now, Corey is posted in CMO International, so Commodore's Messenger Org International, not religious technology. They're totally separate. He calls her in and says, what they call it in the Sea Org is they call it out 2D, which it means it's not the most pro-survival thing you can do on the second dynamic. Out 2D. That's their abbreviation for having sex, out 2D, or getting even to third base, or sometimes even second base, is all out 2D. He calls her into his office and he says, did you do it? She says, no. Yes, I did it. So she had finally admits that she did it. Okay, knowing that they did it, he says, okay, fine, leave, you're done. He then calls in Adam and asks him, he already knows they did it. He asks him, did you do it? And Adam denies it. No, we didn't do it. No, absolutely not, sir. No, sir. No way, sir. We wouldn't do that. We know we're not supposed to do that. He already knows he did. So he just keeps getting him to hang himself as long as he can. And then he says, and at the end of it, he says, I already talked to Corey, and Corey said you guys did it. You're going to the RPF. This guy goes to the RPF. And then he's on the RPF, I think in PAC, Black and PAC, we used to call it. If you go to the RPF in PAC, it's Black and PAC. So he was Black and PAC for probably 2 or 3 years. And then he gets back to the base, which is almost impossible. If you go to the RPF from the base, you almost never come back. Very few people have done that. He gets back to the base, and he's an audio guy. So they're at a Free Winds. There's an event at the Free Winds. And somehow or another, he was laughing somewhere out on the deck when David Miscavige was in some meeting, got really pissed off. He walked outside and saw this guy laughing or smiling, and it said, that's it, you're offloaded, you're off the base. They were married that whole time he was in the RPF. He comes back, and then he goes back to LA or something, gets offloaded. But my point is that why does David Miscavige have anything to do with any of this? But he was always involved in these things. And he would also dish all the time too. He would dish whenever people got sex checked and sex stuff came up, or masturbation or whatever, anything except for like missionary is like dubbed kind of aberrated in Scientology, right?
It's sexual perversions.
Sexual perversions, that's the one. So anytime somebody did anything, and he would even give people nicknames about it too. He would be like, oh, I'm not going to use anybody's real names, but he would be like, oh, finger up the butt has something to show up. Call that person for sometimes years, finger up the butt Hamilton. That's just what he would say whenever that person would be coming in. Or he would say, like, even just normal, like, we're at the meeting, this is like, is everybody here? And be like, he would look around and be like, where's finger up the butt Hamilton? Is he not coming to the meeting? Like, it's like a total normal thing.
By the way, Mark, I think you keep shaking your table or your laptop because the camera keeps like going blah blah.
Oh, that?
Yeah.
Yeah, I have it on a little stand so I could get the camera up higher. So I'll put it back a little bit because I'm a mad person on this thing.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So, but that's the thing. Even when you're there at the base, you're almost like, are we in 10th grade? Like what's the, what's the deal here? Like, why do you got to play it like this? Like, why can't you, like, why do you have to, and everyone's being embarrassed every chance he gets. Everyone's being made fun of, physical appearance. Like he called Mark Yeager. Mark Yeager was bald. He had a little bit of hair, up on the ears and in the back, I think. A little bit. Maybe he even shaved that after a while. But he was essentially bald. He was rocking the Aaron Smith-Levin do.
You wouldn't catch me with that vulture shit.
I know, right? But either way, he used to call him cue ball. This is the commanding officer of the CMO International, the Commodore's Messenger Unit International, that runs the management of all Scientology organizations worldwide. David Miscavige calls that guy cue ball. The executive director, Int, the executive director international, Guillaume Lesèvre, I think he's from France. Yeah, he's from France. So what did Dave call him? Cheese eater. That was his name. And whenever the two of them were together, he would call them cheese eater and cue ball. Hey, where's cheese eater? Hey, where's cue ball? Those are the two biggest executives besides him in Scientology. Those are the two guys. When we used to go to events, those would be the two guys standing up on the stage. He would introduce them as executive director international. And then 10 seconds later, backstage in the green room, he's like, what the hell, cue ball? You totally biffed your speech, or cheese eater, whichever one. But yeah, it wasn't like anyone was immune from it. The top people would be, I'm trying to think of another one. Oh, Ray Midoff. Ray Midoff's really tall and he's kind of lanky. And so he called him Gumby, or was he Gumby? Yeah, he was Gumby. And I think he called Heber Gents Howdy Doody. Like he hadn't, like if I thought about it, I could probably think of names for pretty much everybody that he just called that person that thing. And there is, by the way, I changed the name, but there is a finger up the butt Hamilton. Just it's not Hamilton.
All right, good. Well, that was a juicy question. Someone else asked, do you have any more books left in you? That's Lisa Catherine. Do you have any more books left in you?
I do actually. I have at least one more. I'm doing the audiobook. I said that. I have at least one more book, which is, so the first book I wrote is basically from my parents getting into Scientology all the way up until basically the week or so that we left. And the day that Claire left, or when she finally escaped, that's where it ends. My next book is that day forward. And here's the problem. When I started the book, I had this idea. The book is, I'm not going to say what it's called, but it's basically how people started defecting. More people started defecting, more and more. When they told me, you're going to be on your own, you're never going to be anything, you're not going to be able to live, you're going to be a bum on the street, best case, you're going to be working at Burger King, flipping burgers. And every single year, sometimes even every single 6 months, another super high, powerful person would leave. And I would be like, oh my God, I think that person left. And then inevitably, I would be on the phone with them. And then they would tell me all the stuff that had happened since I left and how people are jumping ship like just full time. And then that basically just kept continuing. So that's kind of how I wrote the book, was like each chapter is of this next new person that leaves. The problem is that every time I thought, okay, this is the best. There's no one better than Mike Rinder is going to leave. This is the best person that's ever left. And then Ron Miscavige leaves. And then they're like, oh my God, there's nobody that's going to be more significant than Dave's own father that's going to leave. And then Roanne Horwich leaves, L. Ron Hubbard's granddaughter. And then so basically what the problem has been that I keep adding new chapters for these new people that leave. And I'm probably like 10 chapters behind people that have left and telling the story of how they left and then how I explained to them, everything's crazy, the deprogramming aspect. Each person's different in terms of how they leave and how they are able to reintegrate. And also one of the things I'm trying to explain in there is all the ways I've felt were really good for reintegration and the things that are horrible for reintegration in terms of how you deal with the person and how you don't want to, when they get out, you don't want to shove down their throat. Hubbard was full of shit. Dave's full of shit. Scientology's full of shit. You can't just unload all that on them in a conversation after they spent 37 years working for all the people that you said totally conned them. Yeah, they have to be weaned, so to speak. And not everybody is like, when I left, like, I'm pretty sure like a month after I left, I was like, oh, okay, I get it. That was a giant waste of time. But some people it takes a year for that, or some people it takes 10 years for that to get to that point where they're just like, oh, I need to restart. I need to just like, that chapter is done. I need to start over and power this thing up all new,
It's a great point. In fact, what you're mentioning there is the reason why I think you'll see me get my feathers ruffled and push back against some of the more bombastic claims like LRH being a racist and a pedophile and this stuff. And it's not because I give a shit about LRH. It's because for me, the purpose of all of this exposure and all of this dialogue that we're having, hopefully, isn't just to tell the entire world about Scientology. It's to start an acceptable conversation that someone who's on the fence about Scientology can listen to and go, that's a really good fucking point. And go, well, I never thought about that. And wait a second, these guys are talking about stuff that makes sense to me. And if you start coming at Scientologists who only have one foot out, if you start coming at them with shit like LRH likes to fuck little boys and LRH hates black people, you stop the conversation. No one's listening to you after that.
Well, yeah. And also, when you're in there, you're trained. You're basically trained. You're programmed that as soon as a certain verbiage or certain dialogue takes place, you just shut everything down. Like, oh no, not listening. That's it. That's in theta, or it's false, or you just, as second somebody says a certain phrase or something, then that's it. There's no more conversation. So you really have to worry about that when people are fresh out. It's a very delicate situation to not turn them off from reintegrating with the outside world. I'm going to do something here. I'm going to just test something here. I'm going right to you. Okay. Now you're running the stream. See, you got I'm just moving my laptop.
Mm.
And when
you say I'm running the stream, nothing changed on the interface.
Well, you're not, but it's only you on the stream now.
Oh, nice. I'm ready for my close-up.
You're ready for your close-up. And now that I fixed my camera, I'm back. That's it. See? I can.
Nice. And now it won't wobble?
Yeah, that's my nose picking move. See, I just go to you, pick, and then boom, I'm back to me. I'm good to go. Okay. Took care of business. Nobody saw anything.
Before we tackle the next question, I want to make a little, we'll call it a plug, but you'll see what I mean. So, so we have the supporters of Leah Remini group. There's the fans of Leah Remini group. There's other groups that have sprung up. And one of the things that have been happening in these groups is that when former Scientologists and former SEERG members need some help getting back on their feet or in other various ways, they've been putting up individual fundraisers. And there's many cases where we've been able to raise meaningful amounts of money to help people in very meaningful ways. But the problem with that approach is it requires someone to be willing to basically put their whole life on the internet and ask for help. And that can be very, very hard. So as you know, we're organizing up in a way that's going to prevent people from having to do that in the future. But one thing, that's not done yet. That's not in place yet. That's not ready yet. And so one thing I just want to take the opportunity to plug here is that there is a former Scientologist here in Clearwater who has left Scientology, partially thanks to watching the show, and due to various circumstances that are hard to explain, she is trapped in this. She is trapped in this apartment with her OT7 Scientologist mother. And I know it's hard to understand how anyone could be trapped, but you have to take my word for it at this point. It is true. So what I've been trying to help her do is just raise enough money to get her out of her mom's place. And that is why there's a fundraiser up in the supporters of Leah Remini group for Sandrine Litchfield. And I've bumped it to the top of the group, and I just wanted to mention it while we sort of have a captive audience. If there's anyone watching who can, throw $10 at the fundraiser or more, it really is going to make a big deal, be a big deal for her. And because it's someone who lives right here in Clearwater, I've actually met Sandrine a couple times. I know that her story is legit, even though there's not a lot of information on the fundraiser page. I just wanted to mention that because pretty soon these fundraisers aren't going to be necessary. People aren't going to have to pick and choose who they want to help and who they think is, whatever. You get what I'm saying. So, all right. And when I upload this to YouTube later, because that's a time-sensitive issue, I'll probably remove this whole section. But while we're doing it right now, I at least wanted to mention it.
Okay.
All right. So, Mark, when I went through and sort of curated the questions, these 3 or 4 questions we've covered are the only ones I was able to pull. Have you seen any questions come up in the feed so far that you want to tackle?
Well, I think there was just a few, like somebody said, when Claire and I left, did we get fair gamed? Jennifer Hoskins asked that. And yeah, and that's definitely heavily covered in the book. When we left, I mean, we've talked about it a little bit here and there, but essentially when we left, neither one of us wanted to cause any trouble. We just wanted to get out of there and restart our lives. Claire was really thinking that we were going to be able to talk to our families again. I was pretty much, I knew that wasn't going to happen because most of the people that leave from the Int headquarters, there's actually an advice from L. Ron Hubbard. In regular Scientology policy, L. Ron Hubbard says you always leave the door a crack open for people that leave Scientology. And there's an advice because he wasn't managing Scientology. He was writing to them to tell them what to do, to how to manage Scientology. But because he wasn't legally supposed to be doing that, they're called advices. And there's hundreds, maybe even thousands of advices for the international base where L. Ron Hubbard said what you're supposed to do. And they're treated just like policy. Even in some cases, they're even higher than policy because they came directly from him. There's no interpretation. There's no possibility that someone else wrote it. No, this was direct from L. Ron Hubbard. And the advice for people that leave the international headquarters say that although we leave the crack open a little bit for people that leave Scientology, anyone who leaves from the international headquarters, you bolt the door shut and then weld it with an atomic branding iron.
Really?
That's what it says for those people. So lately, there's some people that have been allowed to leave because they get pregnant and they're allowed to get jobs and leave and be Scientologists. They don't get declared. Nothing bad happens. And they don't even have to pay a freeloader debt, nothing. They just get the red carpet rolled out for them, thanks to Claire and I, because we filed a lawsuit that said that they were making people get abortions. So when we left, at the time we left, it wasn't like that at all. I actually have documents because when Mike Rinder blew, he had my dossier. He had my OSA dossier. So any of the reports that were being sent from OSA to RTC, and sometimes ones coming back from RTC to OSA, were all in a folder he had on a USB stick or something. And all these Word documents. And there's documents, I'd say there's probably about 20 or 30 documents in there. And in the documents, they say who I talked to on the phone and for how long. Yeah. Like wow. He called this person yesterday and spoke to him for 3 minutes. Then he called these people and spoke to them for 65 minutes. Then he talked to this person for 18 minutes.
And so you still, to this day, don't know how they were able to get that info, whether it was from personal spying or getting your phone records.
No, I'm pretty sure they had my phones tapped. They were listening as I was talking. Or yeah, maybe they got the phone records after the fact. But it was pretty up to date stuff, and that blew my mind when I got that. It also, they had a whole lawsuit they were planning to sue me. There was all kinds of stuff. There was people basically camped outside of our house all day, every day when we left Scientology. And then there's a lot of stuff in the book. I get into it in a lot more detail, but yes, the answer to the question, Jennifer Hoskins, is yes.
Yeah. Let me give 2 cents on that as well. I don't know about you, Mark, but I've always felt if I was being followed, I would know it. They could never get over on me like that. And apparently it's just not true. So, I've never felt I was being followed, saw that I was being followed, and yet after the episode aired and they put up the hate website, it was very obvious that I was. And just from some of the stupid stuff, I mean, nothing incriminating, but just some of the stupid information they had simply isn't possible to get without being followed. And I'm like, motherfuckers. And, I feel like I end up being too naive about these things. Like the Scientologist who disconnected from, us and our dog now, she lives right behind me and she has trees. There's no reason in the world there wouldn't be some sort of cameras facing towards our house. But, my knee-jerk reaction is, oh, they would never go through that much trouble. Well, why the fuck wouldn't they? Why wouldn't they? It's not trouble, And what's the other thing? Oh, yeah, I have under-the-radar Scientology friends that we absolutely are very careful where and when we meet up because we know the risk. And despite how careful we are, these guys still get pulled into the church and not asked if they're connected to me, told they're connected to me.
Oh yeah, totally.
They're like, what the fuck? What's going on?
I met with a girl who left the property. She left, let's say she left in October. And I met up with her in LA. I was doing some work there and she was living in LA. And I met up with her like in December. Okay, just a few months after she left. And she said, hey, you want to go to dinner? And I said, sure, no problem. And I said, where do you want to go? And she's like, oh, we can go wherever. I was like, are you sure? Like this girl was high profile enough that in my mind, there's no way she didn't have less than 2 or 3 PIs following her at all times. And we go to eat. And then the next day she calls me and she was still under the radar. So she hadn't spoken out against Scientology. She hadn't done anything. She wasn't declared a suppressive. And the next day she calls me. She's like, what the hell? You didn't tell me you had PIs? I was like, no, I don't have PIs. You have PIs. She's like, yeah, I got a call. I got bitched out on the phone because I had dinner with you last night. I was like, that's why I was asking you. Are you sure you just want to go to some super public place? We could have gone somewhere more discreet. No, she was so naive that they would dare follow her. And to me, I'm like, of course they're following you. They're so worried about anything you do or say. They're gonna, and who you talk to. And that was another question. So somebody wrote a question about people getting declared and about why would Aaron's dog get declared? Like, did L. Ron Hubbard write policies about dogs getting declared? The dog, the Goliath thing is not about that Goliath is an SP. It's that a Scientologist can have a connection to an SP. And I'm pretty sure Mike might be able to, Mike Rinder, he's been chiming in on the comments and confirming all the OSA stuff as we've been going. But he might be able to. We should
bring Mike on the screen. No.
I did. I put his comment up for a little while.
But no, I meant you said we could do like a talk show format. But, no pressure. No pressure, Mike. No pressure.
It's all good. I can kill your feed and get his feed.
Don't do that.
But I'm pretty sure it's an OSA stat for them to actually cut a connection. So if a Scientologist has a connection to somebody and that person is deemed or a suppressive person, when they cut that connection, that's a stat. So if your neighbor is connected to you through Goliath, that is a connection. So if they call that person and say, hey, you need to build a fence and you got to do this and no more throwing dog treats over to Goliath or whatever it is, when they say, yes, I did it, and the person sends them a photo, here's my photo of my fence, then that's a stat for somebody at OSA, and they get to mark their graph up. Yes, we cut another connection today. Jamie is not allowed to talk to Goliath anymore, or whatever your neighbor's name was. I put up a comment. Mike Rinder says, confirm all the nicknames too. I was telling them to Christy before you said them, Mark.
Someone asked whether Tom Cruise had a nickname, and I was thinking, well, who do you think you were protecting with that finger up the butt Hamilton? Oh, no, I'm just kidding.
No, you know what, though? You mentioned that. So
Yes.
at the base, everyone called Tom Cruise TC. No one called him Tom Cruise. No one called him Mr. Cruise unless he came to the property. But whenever something was getting ready for him, it was TC's coming, we got to get this done, or we got to get that done, or we got to get this done. Okay, well, there was a guy that I worked with. His name was Tony Cifarelli, and he was this New Yorker who was at the Int Base, totally like stereotypical New Yorker. Anyway, when Tom Cruise came through his area, he said, hi, Tom, to Tom Cruise. He got assigned lower conditions for calling Tom Cruise Tom. He got assigned lower conditions. And he was very sternly rebuked. It's Mr. Cruise or Sir. And I mean, we're Sea Org members. This guy, Tony Cifarelli, he was in the Sea Org his whole life. He's in the Sea Org 37 years, some nonsense like that. And he has to call Johnny on the spot, who just, who was in Mission Impossible. He's got to call him Sir or Mr. Cruise because he's Dave's bestie. But yeah, and then after that, we were all briefed at a muster by Larice Stuckenbrock. We were all briefed. I think it was Larissa or Marion Powell, or maybe even both. If Mr. Cruz comes to your area, you call him Mr. Cruz or you call him Sir. Today, somebody called him Tom, and that is not what he's called, period. So he was a big deal. I'm putting this comment up just real quick. There you go. I'm in. I put it up. Okay, good. I'm done. Here we go. Next one.
And for the record, switching back to the question, for the record, the dog wasn't literally declared with his own goldenrod. It's the disconnection that this is one of those areas where these days Scientology can make you disconnect from someone without actually declaring them. That's actually what happened when Jenna Miscavige started talking out. Is OSA started making phone calls to people. I got phone calls from several people in OSA saying Jenna's guilty of suppressive acts, so the policy still applies. And people would go, oh, okay, is she declared? And they would not give you an answer. Yeah, it doesn't matter if she's declared. She's committed a suppressive act. Mark, what's your personal opinion on why they will not officially declare Jenna or Ron Sr.?
I think that several years ago, certain people left, and as part of an agreement, some of those people, this is all supposition on my part. I've never seen it, and I don't know for sure, but I know that there's two people that left that are in that family. And when those people left, they did not get declared. And they were basically let alone. And those people didn't say anything bad about Scientology, and Scientology didn't say anything bad about them. And I think because Jenna and Ron are in that family, they can't declare those people because it would break that agreement that they made years and years prior. That's personally what I think. I have no idea. And in the end, they don't even send out declares anymore. So it's really a moot point. And so if they just tell everybody you can't talk to Jenna, it does the exact same thing as declaring her, but they're not physically writing something saying Jenna is a suppressive person or Ron is a suppressive person, even though they're doing everything else they would do if they had a suppressive person declare issued on them anyway. So I just think it's it's just their way of wiggling around some nonsense. And I don't
Totally.
even think.
And I mentioned that as just. That's right, and I mentioned that just because that's basically what they did with the dog.
Yeah, exactly.
They didn't have to declare the dog. They just had to say Goliath is guilty of suppressive acts by refusing to disconnect from Aaron, and the policy applies, and you must handle or disconnect. And since you can't handle the dog, you have to disconnect.
Yeah. Now you say that because normally I would never think that a dog would even have like a declare or anything. David Miscavige's Dalmatian at the base, he had an ethics file. The dog had an ethics file. This dog was getting knowledge reports written on him all the time by Int Base staff, people, all the time. And the dog, there was these peacocks that lived at the property, and they lived at the, it's called the Star of California Clipper Ship. It's like a clipper ship built in the middle of the property in the desert in in Gilman Hot Springs, California. And that's where they have local events and stuff like that. And the peacocks would live at that ship. One day, this dog, his name was Buster. That was the Dalmatian's name. We think he was a Dalmatian, but we think he was part pit bull as well. So he was very unstable mentally, and Scientology wise as well. He was a no case gain dog. But regardless, he killed all the peacocks. He tore all their heads off and laid them nicely on the grass near the ship. And because of that, he went to the doggy RPF. I'm not joking. This is 100%. I'm being totally serious. He went, you know where he went? He went to the same place they sent Shelly. He went to CST. He sent I'm totally serious. I just realized that just now. When the dog messed up, they sent him to CST. When Shelly messed up, they sent her to CST. That's where Dave sends his
at least she's there with the dog.
Yeah.
Why does Mike keep saying that Magpie ate the peacocks, not Buster?
No. Magpie was the female. Magpie was the female dog, and she was the one that liked our dog, Jupiter. And Magpie was fine. Magpie was nice. And they had Magpie and Buster at the same time. And Buster just went off the rails and was like, yeah, he was an SP. Stephen J. Wills got it. He was a suppressive pooch. And
so Mark, did your dog have any out 2D incidents with Miscavige's dogs?
He actually did, and Buster tried to kill our dog on 2 occasions because our dog was getting fresh and freaky with Magpie, and Magpie was totally into it, and Buster would have none of that. So when Buster got sent to the dog RPF, we were happy. We were like, finally, our dog can like get on with it because he's had this weird tryst with Magpie that is now can be unhindered by Buster.
Nice. I was going to say the dog should have been married so that it wouldn't be called out 2D.
Yeah, I don't know about that. I've never heard about doggy marriages. Doggy RPF and doggy ethics file is a real thing, though.
Oh, and by the way, yes, when Goliath stands up and puts his hands on your shoulders, he is much taller than David Miscavige.
Who?
The dog, Goliath.
Oh, yeah, he was way taller than 4'13". If you went up like that, yeah, absolutely.
I mean, your 12-year-old is taller than David Miscavige, so.
You know, my 12-year-old, that's not a lie. My 12-year-old is 5'4", okay? 12 years old, he's 5'4". David Miscavige is 4'13", so I don't know what to say.
All right, so what else do we got?
I got well, let me look through them. Oh, one, I had another question here. I'm looking over to my iPad here. Sorry, folks. Okay, talked about that. Oh, another good thing. This is also a good tidbit. There's one thing that, for some reason, I don't know why, but for some reason it seems to work with Scientologists. These Scientologists that are under the radar, where they should go. Most Scientologists are kind of programmed to do what's called the doubt formula. And even when they want to leave Scientology, they do this thing. So they think Scientology is bullshit, but in order to leave Scientology, they're going to do this thing, which is a Scientology exercise, which is determine if Scientology is bullshit. So it's called a doubt formula. And in the doubt formula, you're supposed to examine the statistics of the individual group or person that you're going to join or leave. Okay? Well, so they'll do this all day long. So if you can just get a few minutes with them and explain to them how the math doesn't work in Scientology, a lot of times that's the thing that will get them to kind of, it'll turn their brain just a little teeny bit. You go, listen, dude, there's 10 million people in Los Angeles. You have 7,000 people showing up to an event. You don't have millions of members. If you can't get 5,500 people to fill the shrine, and you have to bring in all the staff from all the orgs in all of Los Angeles just to fill the bottom floor of the shrine, you don't have millions of people. You don't even have 10,000 people. It's not true. There's not millions of Scientologists. That little things like that will get them to, it'll tweak them just a little bit. And the one I use the best is, doesn't matter where they are. That's a universal. The shrine one's a little specific. If you just say, where are you from? Okay, I'm from Burbank. Okay, good. Burbank. What's the zip code of Burbank? Okay, good. In that zip code, how many people are there? There's 500,000. Okay. How many people are on course at the org, at the Burbank org? 20. Okay, good. It's going to take you 7,000 years to clear Burbank. That's the math. It's done. There's no arguing. You have 20 people. You produce a clear every 6 months. So we'll say 2 clears a year divided by 500,000 people. That's a long time. That for me, that's been a very workable thing to make them see that they're being duped or there's something not right, because you keep donating money, you keep building new places, and you're going to clear Burbank. I'm not talking about Los Angeles. I'm talking about Burbank. You're going to clear Burbank in 7,000 years.
Yeah, no, it's a great point. I mean, I see the question that comes up a lot. How do Scientologists continually get duped by these membership numbers? And the answer is that when Scientologists watch these international events, they create an impression that Scientology is booming everywhere. And so I know, as a staff member in Philadelphia, when I would watch these events, I would go, fuck, man, everyone's doing so good except us. Jesus. You know, you'd hear about how big Russia is, how big Mexico is, how great Europe's doing, and you go, shit, man, we must be doing worse than everyone else. And then when you go to Flag, Miscavige has all sorts of strategies to keep Flag really busy, so that if you go to Flag, you're like, oh shit, we are huge. Scientology's huge, man. Scientology's everywhere. Look, there's Scientology from all over the world. And it reinforces that idea that your org is the only one that's doing shitty. Funny little anecdote. I was talking to a former Scientologist in Louisiana, of all places, like Scientology in Louisiana, like what's that about, right? And he said that when the Valley org, so the Valley org is this, it's right down the street from the LA org, essentially, in the middle of the highest concentration of Scientologists in the world. They were trying to man up their org to have 200 staff members. And
they're trying to get this dude from Louisiana.
They're calling a former Scientologist in Louisiana to try to get him to join staff in the Valley.
That's another proves my point completely. So this person said, but if they're not being told the truth by COS, how will they even consider believing you? That's how, because they see Scientology saying we have millions of Scientologists in Los Angeles, but yet they're trying to get people. They can't even get that one organization manned up from the pool of themselves in that area because they just don't exist. I mean, there's more people. I mean, this is a real thing. And if you can get into a conversation with a Scientologist, you can tell them, like, listen, dude, there's more people that have been registered by censuses that practice the Jedi that are Jedis. More people on paper that fill out the census saying I'm a Jedi. And also in 41 years of Jedis, as far as we know, there's only been like 1 to 2 father-son relationships that have gone sideways in all of them. And in Scientology, that's like a Tuesday. You know, it's not. In 41 years, they had 2 bad family disconnections in the Jedi faith. Okay, so
Right.
if you try to be light with the Scientologists and you try to explain them, listen, it's just not that they're telling you things that you know aren't true, and this is how you can check for yourself if they're true or not. So that's where I get it. And a lot of times, if I'm talking to a Scientologist, it's because they're contacting me. I don't know these people. They're contacting me and they're asking me, they're saying, you know, how do I know this? Or how can I believe you on this? Or how, and I say, listen, you don't have to believe that, you know, David Miscavige made us dig up poo and shit ponds at the base. Whatever. Who cares about that? How about where you live? What's the deal with Scientology where you live? When you go into the course room 6 months after you got a new ideal org and the clay is still in the plastic from when they bought it from the art supply store, okay, there's something wrong at your org. People ain't doing clay demos because the clay shouldn't still be in the package 6 months later. There should be clay demos being like in the 80s, you couldn't even get a parking spot in Los Angeles when you went on course. There was so many people there to do courses that there was nowhere to park. Now you could park a freaking Kenny Loggins tour buses and all the people going to his concert down there, and there'd be more parking left over. I mean, there's a lot of parking. There ain't nobody there. No one's parking there to go on course. It's little teeny thing. Even the parking. In these new ideal orgs, they have to petition when they're redoing the building or they're redoing this. They have to explain to the city how many parking spaces they need. And these ideal orgs are like, we only need 50 parking spaces. How are you going to clear the planet with 50 parking spaces? If you're going to be, no matter what org it is in the world, you need to clear more than 50 people a week to clear that area. And also, people die. So even the math on clearing people in 7,000 years, that's if everyone was a clear forever. Once they die, you got to start all over again. So the whole purpose of the Sea Organization is to clear the planet. And Scientology, for that matter, is to clear the planet. So that's their overall wide-reaching goal that encompasses all of Scientology. If you can explain to a Scientologist in pure, simple math terms that one thing that runs the entire con is 100% bullshit and it's never going to happen, it's almost like, let's go jet skiing. Why am I wasting my time? It's totally unreal.
The fact that it's so easy to just point out with fundamental math how everyone's being lied to, and that it's easy to do that, is really just an indicator of how strong the cognitive dissonance is within Scientology. Like, forget the 10 million members that they claim. In their recent promo for their New Year's event, they said, "We are millions." And then, of course, the next sentence was, "Come join thousands of Scientologists." But so if we just take their millions, let's take 3 million. There's only 175 churches of Scientology in the world. There's less than 200. So if you take 3 million divided by 175, it's about 17,000 Scientologists per org. No matter what org you're in, you know there aren't more than 200 Scientologists taking services. You know that. I mean, usually it's not more than 20, 30, 40, or 50. But best case scenario, you know it's not more than 200. And yet, in order for there to be a few million Scientologists, there'd have to be 17,000. There aren't even 17,000 Scientologists in Greater Los Angeles. There aren't even 17,000 Scientologists in the United States, right? So, anyway, we could go on about this all day long. But that's not even unique to Scientology. Like high control groups and cults, put someone in a frame of mind where oftentimes by pointing out the truth to them, you reinforce the lies they already believe.
Exactly.
This is the way it works.
Yeah, somebody said that I think we did one of her questions before, but Stefani says, what is supposed to happen after the planet is cleared? Well, then you go on to target 2. And that's supposedly where LRH went when, that's a good point. That might be a discrepancy in the folklore. If LRH went to target 2, then why the hell do we build that mansion for him at the base? Is he supposed to go to target 2, wrap that up, and then come back to target 1?
I know. So I have, whenever the subject comes up, I have said that as an average Scientologist who was never at international management, that we all believed Hubbard went off to Target 2 and was not coming back. Now, somebody commented in one of my videos recently and gave the exact quotes and was trying to point out that I might have actually misunderstood these things and that he never said he was going off to Target 2 by himself, but that we would all go off to Target 2 after Target 1 was done. And he made me doubt everything I've been saying for the last fucking 3 years.
You know what? I think that person's right. I don't think he said I'm going right now. He just said let's go off to Target 2.
He says I'll go off with you to Target 2.
That's
but
right.
He also said I'll see you down the line. That doesn't mean he says I'll see you down the line.
You know what? He also said not to use Windex and to use newspapers and ammonia water. And I don't know, but I've used some Windex in my time, and it works way better than ammonia water, as far as I can tell.
Yeah,
and my hands get less dirty.
Yeah. Windex
I don't know.
works pretty well.
He also said not to make photocopies because they cost too much. Use a Mimeo instead.
That's right. He also said computers were psychotic. No, telephones were psychotic, so don't use them.
Telephones were psychotic. Computers were useless. There's actually a GO campaign, a Guardian's office. For those of you who are new, the Guardian's office is the predecessor to what's now known as the Office of Special Affairs, and they are the CIA wing of Scientology. The Guardian's office just happened to be a group of Scientologists that were also accused and convicted of the largest infiltration into the United States government in its history, still true to this date. And the Guardian's office ran an operation to discredit computers. That was there's like Operation Snow White, and I had a list somewhere of OSA operations, and some of them are amazingly crazy. Like
this will speak to the frame of mind of Scientologists, and the frame of mind I had when I was in. When I learned that there was this, when I learned of Operation Snow White, that's not even something. I was proud. There's a book in the Qual Library at the Advanced Org of Los Angeles, AOLA. There's a book in the library about Operation Snow White. It's autographed by the author. What is it called? Mike, if you're watching, I know that you know the book I'm talking about. God, what is it called? I read the book about Operation Snow White while I was fucking off on post at AOLA.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
It's like, you don't, Miscavige, when he says we're not that kind of religion, he means we operate, we do our own thing. We do our own thing. We do it the way we want to do it. No one's embarrassed of that Operation Snow White that I ever met in Scientology. Anyway. Yeah, Mike, I think that was it. Omar, let me find the name of that book, because actually it's a fantastic book.
And now I have to make a pronunciation correction. I was saying Stefani. It's just Stephanie. It's just spelled differently. My sister's name is Stephanie. I should have figured that out. But I'm sorry, Stefani. I will call you Stephanie from now
on. Okay, so let's see. How has I'm just going to ask you a question. How has harassment for you been after the TV show aired compared from before? I mean, you were doing a hell of a lot more talking about against Scientology long before the TV show aired. So I imagine there was no surprises for you there, but I should just ask.
Well, I left in 2005, and I was posting a majority of what is in my Blown for Good book. I mean, all the good, juicy stories, a bunch of the good, juicy stories, I was posting on the internet in 2006. And so I was getting harassed. Leah was just knee high to a grasshopper. No, I mean, I wasn't a public, I was a Sea Org member, but yeah, I wasn't surprised at anything that happened from the show. What I was most surprised at is how little people were being harassed from the show. Like in my time, if you posted something on the internet, you had PIs at your house. On the internet, on a message board, on Operation Clambake or ex-Scientology message board, or there used to be an anonymous website called interbulation.org. And those were like the few places that I posted. Why We Protest, Interbulation, OCMB, Operation Clambake, and ESMB, ex-Scientology message board. And if you were posting on those, they were hunting you down. Now, people are doing TV shows and they don't even get a PI. Or, well, they do websites now. That's kind of like their go-to thing is the websites, which, I mean, it's whatever. It's really for the person. And that's what a lot of people don't understand. When they harass you with a website, they put up these hate websites, whoisbillybob.com, and then they dig through your files. They dig through all your PC folders and your ethics file, and they're like, "Oh my God, he stole the Snickers when he was 11." And then they make it. Then they put up on the website that you're a career thief, career criminal, because
an admitted thief.
Admitted thief. That's exactly what it is. Admitted thief, because you stole the Snickers when you were 11 from the corner store. So they take any teeny little nugget and they twist it, just like what they do at the events. Oh, it's 2x. We got 2x this year. Yeah, we got one person last year. We get 2 people. It's 2x. It's double the year before. So they do the same thing. And so it's really meant just to get to the person. So if you read it and you get all bent out of shape, then they've won. So if you don't even just if you just never go to the website, because no one else is going to the website, who in a million years is going to search for Billy Bob, whoisbillybob.com? If they want to search about Billy Bob and they see this, he's an admitted thief, they're going to go, maybe that's not the one. And it's also sponsored usually. It's a Google sponsor. They've paid Google to bump this website up. So it sucks. Of course it sucks. And probably some people are going to see it. But at the end of the day, it really just proves how petty they are. And it goes back to this, 10th grade. I don't even know if 10th grade is too mature for them. It might even be like a 8th or maybe 7th grade mentality. I don't know what grade you are like, oh, you stole, you're a thief and you're a liar. I don't know where you get to a point where you're like, oh, that's kind of lame. I'm not going to do that anymore. Scientology hasn't reached that point yet.
Yeah. Anything else you want to tackle?
Mike says you got the mic. It's Omar Garrison. That was the one you were looking for?
It's not the one, but that's okay. It's not the one, but that's okay.
Okay. Oh, yeah. Mike does say this. So when I was posting on the internet as Blown for Good, that was the name that I used when I posted on the internet. And the OSA department, the Office of Special Affairs and RTC ran this huge investigation to figure out who was Blown for Good, figure out who the identity of Blown for Good is so we can shut him down. Because for months I was posting and they had no idea who it was. Mike Rinder knew it was me. He was like, it's Marc Headley. And he told Dave it was me. He told Dave Miscavige, Blown for Good is Marc Headley. And Dave told him that he was fucking retarded. He said, it's not Marc Headley. He said, you're stupid. How could it be Marc Headley? And I think mainly because Dave Miscavige, I could have been burned a million times at the Int Base and thrown away and sent off or whatever, but I wasn't. And most of the time it was because of Dave. For some reason or other, I could get out of hairy situations, and it would be attributed because Dave basically saved me. He let me live instead of thumbs down. And so he told Mike it wasn't me. There's no way it can be Marc Headley. There's like impossible. Anyway, so I went to a conference. I went to a government conference sponsored by Germany. It was a European council on basically how Scientology is a horrible cult, and keep your governments, keep your eyes open on these guys because they're going to do some crazy stuff. And at that conference, I said, my name is Marc Headley. I've been posting as Blown for Good on the internet. And that's basically when I came out to everybody and said, I am Blown for Good. It was just like an Iron Man. I said, I am Blown for Good. Anyway, and I'm pretty sure at that exact moment, Mike Rinder was like, oh shit. Dave, you bonehead. Anyway, but so then of course it was me in the end, and Dave had to be like, I don't know what happened after that, but
Mark, I like the story in your book. I like the story in your book where you're the world's biggest Depeche Mode fan, so you've got a tattoo of DM, and I think this is one of the reasons Miscavige had a soft spot for you, is he would give you jazz about having his initials tattooed on your arm.
Yes, but it was Depeche Mode, not David Miscavige.
Yeah.
I actually got in big trouble once. I don't know if it's in the book, but when I first got to the base, there was this girl that I liked, and she also liked Depeche Mode. And I wrote DM rules on the back of her car. She hadn't driven a car in months. It was a dusty old bucket of bolts. But I wrote DM rules on the back of it, and I got chased down by security, and they were like, "What's wrong with you? Why are you doing that?" And I was like, "What do you mean?" They're like, "Why'd you write DM rules on that?" Like they didn't understand it. Like, why would somebody write DM rules? Like, that's kind of a weird thing to write. And I was like, yeah. They're like, why would you write that about David Miscavige? I was like, David Miscavige? No, that's Depeche Mode, man. I don't give a shit about David Miscavige. He does rule, but not like that. He's not like, he doesn't rule like awesome. He rules like with an iron fist. That's a totally different thing.
Funny little anecdote about abbreviations like that. So my friend Brendan Ty, he used to be security at the Flag Advanced store where they deliver the OT levels. And as we all know, but Scientologists don't know, BT is short for body thetan, which is what you learn about on the OT levels. It's the big secret of Scientology for what's really wrong with you. But Brendan's initials are BT. And most of the people who work at the Flag Advanced org have not done the OT levels themselves, so they don't know that BT is some special term no one's allowed to say under penalty of death. So Brendan's like, people would be shouting down at other security staff, because also you can't tell them why it's a bad word, and you can't say it. So people would be calling BT in the AO, and everyone's going like, oh my god, who's violating security?
That's so silly. Hey, somebody posted in here not to use the R word. I was just quoting David Miscavige. I'm not using the R word. That's David Miscavige, okay? He's the one who's not politically correct. So if anyone is offended by the R word that I mentioned in quoting David Miscavige, I apologize. I was just quoting him. Sorry. If he said the N word, I would have said N word, but that's it. That's David Miscavige talking. Okay, let's see if there's any other questions here that are good. He is really small. A lot of people are asking if he's a small person. He is a small person. He is factually 4'13". That is his height. That is an accurate height for him. And
Mark, you keep rubbing your mic by accident.
Oh, I'm sorry. Is that making noise?
Yeah.
Okay, there. Better now.
Okay.
I had to reposition. What else do we have? Yeah, you and security never got along. Yeah, that's true. Security don't get along with a lot of people. Were you buddies with any of the security guards in PAC, or were any of the places where you were?
Do you want to know why I actually was buddies with them?
Yeah.
Because I had a reputation for being a hothead and getting into physical altercations, and they wanted me. They wanted me in security. They wanted me in security. But I couldn't, because I'd taken a puff on a joint during the period where I was like out of Scientology for 2 years, and so I was considered a drug revert. Never mind the fact I'd never done drugs in the first place, so you can't really revert. Anyway, it doesn't matter.
Tommy Davis did the same thing.
Yeah, and so I'll give you a funny story. Normally SEERG members aren't allowed off the base by themselves. You have to go in 2s or 3s. But when I was in the SO, I had a Bally's membership.
Even in PAC?
What's that?
In PAC, you weren't allowed to go off base without twos. And
not if you're walking. If you were driving, you could, but not if you're walking.
Really?
Yeah. And so, but I had a Bally's membership, and I would want to ride my bike there. And I'd leave in the morning.
Like the health club?
Yeah, man. Got to get your swole on.
The one down on right off of Hollywood Boulevard?
Near Carlton Way? Or
oh my God. Dude. Yeah. I had a membership to that same Bally's when I was at Able.
Yeah, it was a nice gym.
That used to be a bowling alley. I used to go there when I grew up in Hollywood. I used to go there all the time. When it became a Bally's, I was heartbroken.
Is that right? So I'm mentioning this because they would give me special permission to ride my bike by myself off to go to the gym because I had this rapport with them that they knew. I don't know. I don't know. It was weird.
Cushy. You had it so cushy
Yeah.
down there. Riding your bike to Bally's.
Oh yeah, you had to get up fucking early to make that work too. Believe me.
Oh, that's true because you had to do that off post time.
Yeah, off post time. Like you had to leave before exercise time. No, actually.
Yeah, when I was at Able, I had that. That's when I had the Bally's membership. I was making $250 a week, $238.04 a week at Able, so I could swing that. But I'm pretty sure I went twice.
Yeah.
They hounded me for that membership fees forever. I was just like, no, I'm shining you guys off. I ain't paying. That's it. I know I signed for a year, but I got the billionaires over these guys, and they won't let me come. So
yeah, there was a handful of the young SO member guys who pulled that one off, and sometimes we'd ride as a group. But
really, there was multiple people.
Not a lot, but a few, 3 to 5.
Wow, that's a long way too. Where were you living?
No, we were living right on LRH Way.
Wow. Oh, that's not so far. That's like 5 minutes.
Not quite 5 minutes, but in order to get there and back and exercise in the allotted time, you
on
had
your bike,
on your ass on a bicycle. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. It's cushy. How much did you guys get paid in PAC?
Oh, I mean, we almost never got full pay, but full pay would have been the $46 after taxes.
Okay, yeah, we got the same at the base, but I mean, I added up my Social Security, and for all 15 years, I took in total after tax. I think after taxes was $29,000 for 15 years.
15 years, yeah.
Yeah, it averages. I don't know what that averages out to. I think it's like $1,600 a year, or I don't remember what it was. Yeah, it's about $1,500, I guess, $30K over 15 years. But which adds up, if you factor in the hours, it's about 36 cents an hour. That's how much we were getting paid. The slave labor in China is more than that, and they get Sundays off.
That's right.
We didn't get Sundays.
That's right.
Off.
And when I was talking to Claire a couple days ago on our live stream, and I asked her about Miscavige's travel, and she told me that it would cost him as much as $40,000 to take one private flight to an Int event. I was like, could not fucking believe it.
I know, but you know what? I know that because I used to do the event budgets. That's not what it is.
It's more?
40,000. No, that's just the gas.
Oh, that's the gas for the plane.
That's if he's using Craig Jensen's jet or Tom Cruise's jet. The $40K is just the cost. So it's like a pass through on the gas. So when he would fly private without, it was way more than that because he wasn't getting the use of that jet. So they had the jet was usually in Burbank or Van Nuys was where those two jets would be. JB knows a lot about this because I think he was the one who he knew more than most. And he was in RTC, to be fair. He was in RTC. In Int, it was just covered in the budget. So for the COB, it was also his staff. So him and his staff would have a fee for their travel, and then everyone else would be in a totally different travel category. But I'm pretty sure that all of the people, everyone else in the event to travel to the event was less than just Dave and his staff to travel to the event. Everyone else. And that's the same way it was for everything. For food, the amount of food that he spent on 1 week was how much a Sea Org member earned for an entire year. So if I were to eat his food, it would, and I paid for it, it would cost me an entire year's worth of my food, my pay to pay for that amount of food. And he would eat that in 1 week, and he wouldn't even always eat it. Sometimes it'd be just like, I ain't eating that. And it would just be like in the trash, or it was a lot of scavengers. Like Mike Rinder could confirm this as well. When he used to eat at meetings, whatever he didn't eat is, we were on that platter like a mofo. We would go in there and we would eat. There wouldn't be a a celery stick left on that plate when we were done. We would eat everything. He used to eat these hot dogs. They were so good. We used to eat, they were like just a hot dog and a bun. But they were, when you're in the Sea Org and you're eating that galley food, hot dog, that's like a delicacy. Oh, that was another thing. I was telling somebody, when you're trying to talk to somebody about Scientology and they don't, it's like a person who eats hot dogs. They don't want to know what's in the hot dog. They like hot dogs. They're going to keep eating hot dogs. Don't ruin it by telling me what's in there. I like them. Come on, you know. Anyway, I was talking to them. I said, that's not a good analogy. So I thought of a new one, which is Scientology is like a poisonous spider. Okay. There's not a lot of them, but you need to be educated about the ones there are. So if you come in contact with them, you know what to do. I think that's a better analogy.
You know, I've spoken with some Scientologists who I'm finally getting feedback for some reason.
What's that? Say that again. I lost you.
I was starting to hear my own feedback there. I have spoken with some Scientologists who got past the point of disbelieving the information about the number of Scientologists and that kind of stuff, and actually accepted, you know, even if that were true and the information in the events is a lie, they're only doing that to keep morale up. And if it's true that the stats aren't really that good, then that means we should all just be working harder to accomplish the goals anyway, not just give it all up. And I'm like, dude, there's no getting through to you then. There's just no getting through to you then. That's another, somebody also brought up a similar point to me, which is when you attack Scientology and you say Scientology's bad or this is what they do in Scientology, Scientology just turns it around and says, we're being attacked. And then they go to their Dugans or whoever is giving them millions of dollars and say, we need $10 million because we have to fight all these attacks. And they use it as a reason. So for Scientology, they actually invite and sort of entertain attacks because then it gives them the wherewithal to go out and say, hey, you know, we're getting attacked on TV and we need more money. And I'm like, okay. I mean, that's not a reason not to expose them. That's just it's another great reason to tell that story. They're using the tax on them to raise more money. They'll do anything to get money out of these people, include say, oh, we're being attacked, give us more money. So I don't know. There's a lot of people out there that have a lot of opinions, Aaron, but sometimes they're not always the best. I don't know what to say. You're always going to be able to find some people willing to believe whatever the hell you tell them. Yeah. Well, I think we should take a few more questions and then we can wrap this up. I'm trying to look in here and see if there's Scientology is like the poison apple. Yes, the Scientology is like the poison apple. All right, hey, keep going. I gotta hit the bathroom real quick. Oh, okay, good. There you go. I'm going solo. Go solo. Okay. There we go. Get rid of Aaron. Yeah, I'll just go through a few comments here for you guys. Put your comments in the comments section or questions in the comments section and I'll answer it. Okay, here's one. Do regular Scientologists know their money is used for the hate sites? You know what? I bet you they don't. I bet you that as a normal routine, well, somebody asked this question earlier. I didn't put it up on the screen, but I did see it. I might have put it up on the screen, but we didn't address it. Scientology don't really give any accounting of any money that goes anywhere to members that are donating money to them. In any other trust or charitable fund or even a lot of other tax-exempt organizations, if you donate them money, they will send you an annual report each year. It's sort of like a balance sheet or a breakdown of what the money was used for. They do not do that in Scientology. They do put out a brochure that says they did all this stuff, most of which they didn't really do or they didn't spend that much money on it. If they got in $50 million, they might have spent $50,000 to do those things and maybe another $100,000 to print the brochure. But they're certainly not, it's not $10 million worth of stuff they did if they got in $10 million worth of donations. So no, most Scientologists don't know their money's being spent for hate sites. Most Scientologists don't know their money's being spent to drive sushi to David Miscavige from the ocean on the Pacific coast every day for lunch and dinner or whatever he's eating.
Okay, let's go to another question here. What's this one? Mark Lawson. Hey, Mark. Mark with a K. Mark, what is the best thing about being out now? Oh, that's a good question. What's the best thing? I'm just, Aaron's just showing back up. Mark Lawson's asking, Mark, what is the best thing about being out now? I think the best thing is, I think the best thing is just the freedom. When you're in that pressure cooker for so long, like I was in there for 15 years, that I worked there. That doesn't include growing up in the insanity of it, but it's just everything is demand, demand, demand. And what are you doing right now? What are you doing? We got to stay up all night, at least 1 or 2 times a week for 15 years to get something done that we have to make that's gonna sit on a shelf for 2 years. It's most everything there is busy work, pointless, make work nonsense, and you're being yelled at and screamed at and beat up and kicked and punished, and you can't eat in the dining room. You got to eat by the dumpster. You got to go clean poo out of the poo ponds. It's just nonstop terror. You're being that's exactly what it is. You're being nonstop terrorized as a regular thing. It's just, that's everyday existence. It's just being terrorized by multiple people. And when you leave, like I was telling somebody this the other day, I don't think that I've met one single person who's treated me as badly as almost everybody I worked with treated me for 15 years. I don't think I've met that person yet. And I'm sure I've met some schmucks here and there, and people can be crappy and people can be mean, but I've not met anybody that is just pure evil, wants me to die and to do harm to me. I have not met that person in the real world, and I work with those people every day for 15 years. So I think that's probably the best thing, just not being terrorized and not being, even when you go to a job, I can do any job I go to is the easiest job in the world compared to that place. If you want me to do something and I have to stay up till 9 o'clock to get it done, I'm just like, okay, I'm going to get that done. It's not a big deal. Yeah, we would have all-nighters at least once or twice a week for just because somebody wanted us to stay up. They didn't want us to go home. That's it. And we would sometimes just be doing busy work all night long, knowing there was no real valid reason we should be there. So
I'm gonna boil freedom down to I'm gonna boil freedom down to 2 essential issues. Being able to sleep when you want, being able to eat what you want when you want. Everything else is just icing on the cake.
That's true. You know what? They say there's a thing in Scientology when you have overts, it makes your vision not as well, and you have to get glasses. And there is policy and bulletins that talk about people that have glasses have overts or withholds, and that's why they're not able to see right, because they're having to look through their harmful acts and they can't confront, or they're something like that. I'm paraphrasing now. Aaron's the tech guy. He knows all this nonsense. Anyway, but it is a real thing in Scientology. If you have glasses, that means you have overts. When I left Scientology, I had glasses. I wore glasses. And when I left, I used to get these horrible headaches when I was there, but when I left, I got them even worse. And I went to the optometrist, and they were like, well, where are your glasses? And I said, I gave you my glasses. And he said, no, where are the glasses, your prescription that you use? I said, those are them. He goes, that's impossible. Your prescription is half as strong as what those glasses are. So my eyesight improved by half, like to the point where I really almost didn't even really need glasses that much. And the doctor attributed to just sleeping, just not staying up all night every night and getting 6-7 hours of sleep every night. I was sleeping 3 or 4 hours a night for 15 years. And that evidently affects your eyesight. Who knew? Anyway, so yeah, I left Scientology with all my overts and my eyesight got twice as better. So screw you. You're wrong about the whole overts thing. Or I didn't have any overts. Or staying there was my overt, and leaving, my eyesight got better. Whichever way you want to explain it, Scientology. Okay, let's see if we got anything else. You think we answered that question enough, Aaron?
Yeah.
I think we should go for a little bit more, because we'll make it an even, like we'll end at 4. Okay, so if you got questions, get them in now and we'll be done with it. I don't even know if you're going to be able to post this to YouTube. I guess we can post it to Facebook. I don't know how to do it.
I can download it from Facebook and upload it to YouTube.
Okay. You have a producer account? Can you do a 2-hour video on YouTube?
Mm-hmm.
Wow, bonanza.
Someone doesn't subscribe to my channel, obviously.
I was there for 15 years. What are you going to tell me? I don't know. That sleep deprivation alone is criminal. That's right, Christopher. It is. It's crazy. You know, that's another thing they use to control these people. They got these people working there. They haven't eaten or slept in years. They have no idea what they're doing, and they can't make any rational decisions. You don't sign a billion-year contract or work all day, every day for 15 years if you've been fed and slept, because that's insanity. You'd just be like, I'm out. See you later.
Yeah. Someone mentioned why we all have great teeth. When I was in the Sea Org, there was a dentist who would do teeth cleanings if you didn't smoke. If you smoked, they were like, fuck you, no teeth cleanings for you. But since leaving the Sea Org, I actually had Invisalign.
That's a good qualifier, since 90% of the people there smoke. That's a good way to get out of cleaning a lot of people's teeth.
Exactly. Once I left the Sea Org, I got Invisalign because this tooth was crooked on the top and all my bottom teeth were bunched up. And I actually get my teeth cleaned like every 6 to 8 weeks. So it's a little freakish. Funny little story.
6 to 8 weeks.
No, dude, 6 to 8 weeks. My dentist loves me.
Wow.
So I went to a Tom Segura comedy show and I did a little meet and greet in the back. This is my Tom Segura show. I'm going to tell it my entire life. And I go up to, shake his hand. And I got my photo taken, and he goes, "God damn, you have white teeth."
Wow. Does getting them cleaned whiten them as well? Are you getting them polished?
I don't get them whitened. If I actually whiten them, I get a big shiny spot on my front tooth. Just cleaning them, 6 to 8 weeks is pretty fucking often to get your teeth clean.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure no one in this video is going to think that that's a little aggressive. They're going to all think that that's a little aggressive on the teeth cleaning.
Yeah, it's probably not completely healthy but I've asked my dentist, I was like, look, is this going to screw me over in 30 years getting my teeth cleaned this often? And they're like, no, you should be good.
I like this one. I've stayed up late tonight to watch you guys, UK time, and I'm totally dead. I'd last 5 minutes in Scientology. I'd be declared within a week. Yeah, you know what? Most people would. Most people would be like, that's it. I'm out. They would just walk away. Most people. But if you grow up in it and you got nowhere to go, this is the rub. Yeah, here we go. I'm going to post this one. Mary Khan, obsessed much? LOL.
It's actually a problem because they're so goddamn white that anything makes them look stained. So I'm like, I can't live with it for the next 6 months, so I go back. They actually schedule me for tiny little appointments and just give me the little Profi jet and the polish. Anyway, enough about my goddamn teeth. What about you, Mark? Why do you have such beautiful teeth?
Debbie Sarno says that she's a hygienist, and that's a lot of cleaning.
What was your dentist activity like up at Int, Mark?
Well, they don't believe in drugs. And I had 4 impacted wisdom teeth. So they were growing in under other teeth. And they had to take them out from the sides, from the gums and the sides, 4 wisdom teeth. And that was done by the dentist there. And I'm pretty sure they used, if not Novocaine, the barest amount of Novocaine that they could possibly use so that I wouldn't, basically lose my mind. And I did lose my mind anyway. And I was about 2 days from them ripping those out from the sides. And he had to pull my lip back up to where my ear was to be able to get to that spot to pull them out. And then I also got a bunch of caps. When I left the Sea Org and I went to a real dentist, the dentist was appalled at the work that was done in my mouth. And I think over the period of a year or two, I had every single filling or every single thing that the Sea Org dentist had done. I had another dentist ripped all that out and redid everything because it was, he said it looked like I went to like some third world country and had my teeth fixed. So, and I don't have really good teeth. They're not horrible, but you know. And also, side note, when Scientology put up a hate site about me, they photoshopped out a bunch of my teeth. I don't know.
No way.
Yeah, just a weird thing. Like I have a gap on this side, right there, and they just got rid of the whole tooth. They literally photoshopped out my teeth in their thing.
Had you ever said anything in any of your auditing sessions or ethics cycles about being self-conscious about your gap?
No, I didn't even give a shit. Even I didn't even notice that I had no tooth in the thing. But then somebody sent it to me and said, "Hey, did you lose a tooth?" And I was like, "No." And they're like, "Oh, on this Scientology video, your tooth is missing." And I was like, that poor Sea Org schmuck sent their frame by frame painting on teeth on a video of me. Bummer.
Nice.
Anyway, yeah, tooth cleaning. What do we got here for? Yeah, you know, another thing we just found this out last week, and this is really a sore subject, but it's brutal. But when the girls at the base were going off to get abortions at this clinic, one of the things that they do, and I don't know if this is at every clinic, somebody was just telling me this, it's a common practice that the woman is put under general anesthesia when they do this procedure. Because this is a procedure that you would never want to be conscious for, and it's painful and it's uncomfortable and it's horrible in so many different ways. And none of the girls from the Int Base that we know of ever got general anesthesia or any kind of pain medication, and they all did it conscious, this procedure. And the person that the doctor could not believe that anybody would have to go through this procedure without getting general. And it was a normal occurrence there, which makes it even crazier that they had the girls do it, but then they also had to do it without going under because they don't believe in that, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, horrible side note. Yeah, too bad LRH didn't feel your need to go to the dentist. That's right, Aaron. LRH didn't have that.
If
that's another big thing at the base.
Teeth, he could have actually succeeded in his plan.
Yeah, he'd probably be president right now. At the base, we had to do retouching on all the LRH films and footage and all that stuff. And that was one of the worst things for us is when there was a video, it's called the Hitchman video is how it's generally referred to at the base. It's a video from the 60s where Tony Hitchman does an interview in England with L. Ron Hubbard. And we had to colorize that video because it was shot in black and white. And when we colorized it, LRH's lips are all purple and his teeth are all yellow because that's what we had to match. His lips were purple and his teeth were yellow. And if you look at the retouched video, it looks horrible. They have videos. Any videos you see of him are mostly church videos. And he looks horrible. And was us retouching it to make it look accurate. And I think a lot of times we might have made him look a little better. So that's his teeth after being retouched. Imagine what they were without that. Have you made up? Here's a good one. Have you made up for lost time as far as taking a vacation? Yes. I don't know. I can't speak for Aaron, but our family, we take at least, I'd say, 2 vacations a year for a week or two. And I work, but I don't work too hard. I have a company, 4, my own boss. Go to sleep when I want.
So it depends on how you define also vacation. Like you guys, I know you guys go a lot of places. We've taken the kids to Montana for Christmas. We've taken them to Wisconsin. We've taken them to Denver. We've taken them to LA. Me and Heather have gone to Scotland. You guys came out here. We'll vacation with you guys at the beach here, but for us, that's like a staycation. You know, we go to Disney, we go to Orlando, we go to Wiki Watchy. Like when you live in Florida, there's a bunch of Florida things to do that it's like, I don't know, is it a vacation if you go somewhere for like 3 days? I don't know. Is that a vacation? I don't know. It's certainly shit we didn't do before that we do now, you know?
Yeah, we take vacations. I think that's a good answer to that question.
Yeah.
Let's see. We got any other? We got 10 minutes left, folks, and then we're shutting this thing down. Ella Rach had horrific. Here we go. Here's a good render quote. I like that renders in here. Vacations, yes. The best ones are with you guys. Yes, they are. They're awesome. Best ones are with you guys.
Hey, Mark, what's our next vacation, Mark? What are we doing?
I don't know. Should we say?
Should we say?
Well, no. If we say, see, that's another thing. Okay, now that's a real thing. We're going to go on vacation. But if I tell everybody, I don't want to have to deal with all the nonsense while we're on vacation. So most of the times, I don't post anything until after the vacation's over.
That's true.
So I will go on
vacation. This happens to be a vacation that the church already knows about.
Which one? The one we're going on?
The church knows about that. Oh, or do they only ever know about it after the fact?
I don't know. I don't know what you're talking about. We might have to get in the back chat over here on here. Are you talking? I'm gonna. There we go.
Hey, slide in my DMs there.
No, it's on the chat on this thing. Should be in your little window. Let's see here. You guys need to do England? Yeah. We were there last year. We go to England every few years. That's where Claire's family are from.
Me and Heather went to London and Edinburgh and Glasgow. We didn't bring the kids. I'm sorry. Have you guys taken the kids to Europe? Like, we're not taking the fucking kids to Europe.
We don't go without the kids. We went to France. God. We went to England. We took the tube. We took the train. We went everywhere with the kids. They loved it. It was the most awesome thing ever.
I can't stand spending that much money. I can't stand it. And it pisses me off. I'm just pissed off the whole vacation.
Don't be pissed off.
You remember how pissed off I was when we found out how much the kids' skiing lessons were going to be? I canceled it for about 30 minutes.
I know, you're right. I had to shame you into it. I had to say I was going to pay for it if you didn't. I was going to take them anyway. I was like, if Aaron's not taking them, I'm taking them. I'll pay for it. He's being a tightwad. Yeah. What else are you going to spend the money on besides the kids? Come on. You know what? You're going to spend some money on this vacation. Yeah. You know what? We'll say. We won't say where we're going or what cruise line we're going, but the Smith-Levins and the Headleys are going on a cruise.
Yeah, so Mark's got 3 boys that are almost the exact same age as my 3 girls, and they play together like just nonstop. I mean, when they're together, they're a self-contained unit.
Yeah. We don't even have to. We're like, where are they? They're all together somewhere. We're good.
Yeah.
You know, I'm serious. After this cruise, they're not even going to want to leave. They're going to be like, nope, we're staying here. We figured it out. We can live here for the rest of our lives.
Mark, Christy pointed out that you had to shame me into paying for the kids to go fishing when we were up in Santa Rosa.
That too?
I was trying to remember. I think I was pretty on board with
right. That. I did that one too. That's a good move on my part. Your kids need to say they're getting a lot more vacation perks because of me being like, I'll pay for them. Because I know you're not going to let me pay for them.
No, of course not.
Yeah, so it's a no-brainer on my part. We need to go to Australia. Here, I'll put some of these up.
So actually, for anyone talking about going to Australia, one of my daughters is named Brisbane. After Brisbane, Australia, we absolutely want to go down to the Gold Coast and have some fun down there.
That would be a load of fun. Now, talk about expensive. That's expensive.
Yeah, we'll have to fly.
5 because we both have 3 kids. He's got 3 girls. I got 3 boys. And when you put those little munchkins on a plane, it adds up pretty quick.
Yeah.
Gina Alker points out that Aaron spends his money at the Lucky Anchor. Okay.
Oh, by the way, our next big party, I think we mentioned it earlier, March 10th is the day of the Scientology and the Aftermath party in downtown Clearwater. Mark your calendars.
Yeah. A bunch of people asked, am I going to be able to go? I don't think I'm going to be able to go. I've got some big projects coming up for my work. And I will have just spent a week on vacation in February or whenever we're going. And so I don't think I'm going to go.
But this isn't going to be the last party. We have to, our next Scientology and the Aftermath party after this one will actually probably be in Coachman Park, which is like 10 times bigger than the one block of Cleveland Street we're closing off.
You're going to have a block party in Coachman Park?
Well, it won't be a block party because it's not a block, it's a park.
But that's good. That's a cool party too.
Yeah. And you guys will come out for that one. Well, if we can organize it well enough and make it big enough, I'm sure we can get Leah to come on down too.
Wow.
Yeah.
The big gun.
You know, you can talk to her about it.
Tori Crispin. Hi, Tori. Let's see what else here. Mike wants to go to Australia too, so we might have to make that one a big trip for everybody.
There we go.
Let's see here. I'm going. We got 5 minutes left. Yeah, somebody wants us to come to Washington.
That's an easy one.
What else we got it? They took away the lizard men. I don't know what that's all about. Does anybody know what that's about?
What does that mean?
I don't know. It just says Christie, they took away the lizard men.
I don't know. Hey, did you, I think when we were talking about your audiobook, that was before the stream went live. You want to tell everyone you're doing an audiobook?
Oh, I'm doing it. I'm going to try and do it before we go on the cruise. I just got to sit down and rock out. I'm doing it myself. I'm the one narrating it. So it's pretty good. I like it. I like the subject matter. I like the author, and I'm proud to narrate this book. Yeah. Rinder, Mark, are you going to offer up to pay for us to go to Australia? No. If Aaron doesn't want to bring his kids there, that's their problem. Yeah, I'm not shaming him on that one. He'll do that one. He'll be like, "Hey, he's paying for it. Let's go."
Maybe if we somehow figure out how to get enough publicity for like Qantas Airlines, they'll sponsor us all to come down there for a little trip.
Oh, okay. Here it is. Christy says Coachman Park used to have metal lizard men along the stream. I can't attach a pic. Okay, we believe you, but at least that makes sense. So that's a super inside Clearwater Coachman Park reference. I'm sorry that skipped past me on that one. When I was in the Sea Org and I was down at Flag, I wasn't spending a lot of time at the Coachman Park, so those lizard men might have snuck past me on that one. Oh, here we go. Here's one. Aaron, get Travolta to fly you.
That's a great idea.
Right? When we get him out, we'll get him to fly. We'll get him to fly us somewhere. Here's another one. Aaron, have you written a book?
Why, no, I have not. But I've mentioned this on my videos a couple times that I've thought if I were to do something, it would be to take, I've got about 500 reports that I wrote in the Sea Org over a 4-year period. And they would make, if I could figure out how to make them understandable, which is kind of like figure out how to travel faster than the speed of light. I don't know how to do that. It would be a hilarious snapshot into the life of a Sea Org member through my reports. And I just don't know, it takes a lot of time and it takes a lot of effort, and I'm not sure how to get anyone to be able to understand what's in these reports. So I've actually started to do a little series of videos called like Let's Read a Knowledge Report, and I'll read the reports that I wrote and explain them.
I have seen one of those videos, and those are really good. I think that's a good idea to make a book out of those. You could just have the report, and then you could tell the whole story of the report. You have a ton of those reports.
I know. I got some good ones. Got some real good ones.
Okay, folks. It's time.
This was a great format. I like it. We'll figure out. I'll have to get as proficient with it as you are.
Yeah. Well, I think we did okay. We probably could have talked about some more, stuff. But it is what it is. It was pretty light. We got 1,000 comments. We got about, looks like 290, almost 300 people. I don't know how all the stats will work on this thing, but I guess once I kill it, then it'll post to the page, and if anybody missed it, they can catch up with it there. And yeah, I liked it. If hopefully we could do more of these, and if everybody likes it, and people can save up their questions, or you can always post on the page. And there's a lot of contributors on the page that'll answer questions as well, and so you don't have to wait for a video. But yeah, thanks for doing this, Aaron. I appreciate it.
Yeah, awesome, guys. See you soon.
See you later, guys.